Dr. Jayadevan, this can be an endless debate between what the government is doing, what the opposition feels. But today, the fact of the matter is that Kerala is one of the states which has the highest R values, and it isn't getting any better by the day. Do you think these strict restrictions that have now been imposed by the Kerala government, can it actually make up for the lost time in which Kerala actually ended up in a situation becoming the state that was reporting almost 50% of the cumulative figures of the entire country?
Okay, your question has two parts. I'll take the first part.
Sure.
And then we will go on to the second about the restrictions. The first is, see, if you look at science, I work on science. I look at the science of the pandemic from around the world. From all the experience and papers from all around the world, one thing is for sure: COVID-19 does not follow a human narrative. And what worked in one area at one time does not work in the same area at another time. And we know that from the experiences of nations like Vietnam, US, UK, wherever you want to check, that fact is true. The second thing is, see, I don't really distinguish between borders of states or countries or districts, because the pandemic does not apply to just one state or one district. Pandemic affects region by region. Now, if you really take a global perspective, right now, as in the first week of August, what is happening around the world is this pandemic is spreading in certain areas. And if you look at what is common between all these areas, what is seen as these are now the R factor, which is basically the spreadability of the virus, is more in areas of high humidity. Wet, humid conditions are, for decades, doctors knew that respiratory viruses spread more. We know that we call them Malakala Rogangal. Basically, it means rainy diseases of the rainy season. Basically, it means respiratory viruses, including coronaviruses. Now, sometimes the truth is so much in front of you, you fail to see it. So people are calling for all sorts of strange reasons as to why the disease is surging. It's very simple. The virus travels from one person to another, and it's heavily dependent on what is called droplets. And droplets survive better in humid weather. It is not rocket science. Now, I'll explain why I'm right about this. Just go to the next country, Colombo, all right? Sri Lanka, the capital is Colombo. Colombo's curve is absolutely equal to that of Kerala. They're having a surge. Their humidity is 87%, exactly that of Trivandrum and the rest of Kerala. And this phenomenon had occurred last year, and I had personally written about that back in October as well. But people like to follow a single narrative. People like to follow testing, vaccination, and all that. See, the pandemic has a heavy dose of physics built into it. Ventilation, environmental conditions, and these are not linear conditions. It's not like suddenly you find an answer. No, these relations are very complex, and I've written about it. You can check my tweet at that. That's number two. The third factor is, see, there is really no perfect decision in a situation like this. As the speakers before me said, this is a decision of balancing livelihood as well as life. Now, you can't quantify either. Do you think that you can lock people up indefinitely? No. Do you think you can let everybody in and let people die from the pandemic? No. So there has to be a middle ground somewhere, and that middle ground is a matter of profound disagreement. If you ask my personal opinion, I have strong disagreements with what is called the vaccine passport principle. Now, I'm one of the doctors who've always opposed the vaccine passport because, I think it's completely unethical that you distinguish between people based on their vaccination status, particularly given that India has difficulty vaccinating everybody. We are not like the US, where people are being chased and pleaded to come for vaccination.
Correct.
We are a country that still has shortage. So how can you distinguish people who do not have vaccination certificate? Now, that being said, what is the alternative? If anyone has a good alternative, I would like to look at it. And these decisions are taken by people who've taken all these factors into consideration. I do not believe any of the doctors I know are part of it.
Okay.
I do not believe my association, the Doctors Association, is part of it. But that being said, I'll tell you one more thing. In a pandemic, not making a decision is worse than taking the wrong decision. Sometimes you make an imperfect decision and you have to follow what decision is made by people who know about it. You just have to trust it. Pretty much like we took a vaccine without full authorization. You know what? The ending was good. I wrote about it. I said it is good. I said go ahead and take the vaccine because I knew about it. But like I said, it's very difficult to come up with a perfect decision. It's also easy to find fault with whatever decision that is made. And you know the old story of Aesop and the farmer and the donkey that went to the market. Whatever the farmer did, society found fault with it.
Okay, Dr. Suresh Kumar, if I could bring you in, do you sort of agree with what Dr. Jayadevan is saying? But